Hello, hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Well, I tried to do it an hour ago, hour and a half ago, I guess, and no, an hour ago, and it wasn't cooperating. They had a bad internet connection, and it kept cutting out, so I just deleted it. People were watching; it was disgusting. But anyway, try it again. Could happen again. I know sometimes the internet here it's shaky. All right, so we got James Foxe Canadian blended whiskey, introduced in 1975. There's the Foxe. It was actually named after a government official of Canada, but they use in the Foxe. Same label since 1975, introduced by Seagram's company, sold to Sazerac in 1989, and Sazerac still owns it and bottles it in Kentucky at the Buffalo Trace Distillery. I got this liter bottle for $8.99 at Broadway Liquors. They've got the big handle bottle at Total Wine and More for $14.49. $14.49, which would go down to, let's see, 14.49 divided by 1750 times 1,000. Yeah, a little cheaper if you get it at Total Wine. It's not a big seller, but it's around. I see it around, not in this town, but other, like New Orleans, somebody's buying it. The competitor is McAdams, which I've only ever seen at Total Wine. No, you know what? I think it is at Broadway Liquors also, but I remember the price was like high, and I thought, I'm not paying that. But $7.99 for the liter, yeah, I'll go along with that. There's the two lions wearing crowns. The maple leaf for the Dominion of Canada. McAdams, aged 3 years, in used oak barrels, bottled in Minnesota by Prestige Beverage Group. And there's a website page for that. They don't say a lot about it. They say, drink it on the rocks or in your favorite cocktail. They don't recommend drinking it neat. Now, James Foxe, I don't know what the company recommends now. Total Wine, they're saying drink it in a cocktail or drink it neat. They don't say drink it on the rocks. And I guess they got that from the manufacturer. Anyway, two, I guess you call them lower shelf Canadian whiskeys, but they're around. I don't even think they're sold in Canada. I had already poured them when the thing was cutting out. And I was smelling. So this is the point where it was cutting out. I was smelling this one, and I smelled them both, and the aroma wasn't too different. It was like sweetness and wood and malty grains, mainly corn, but you get a little rye spice and all. And then I tasted this one over here, and it tasted more standard, kind of like Crown Royal, but not as good. And Crown Royal is standard, it's just like a standard product, meaning grain, but Crown Royal is a little smoother at the end of the sip. This one's got a little bite. I'm thinking this is McAdams, but I'm not sure. And I already had clinked the glasses. Taste over here. Okay. That's clearly James Foxe, as I suspected. Because it's got that Sazerac, I always say Sazeracian, the Sazerac Canadian whiskey, strange flavor. Yeah, it's a lot of sweet corn. Yeah, there's a rye spice. There's a touch of oak and so forth. But there's also this flavoring. And it says on the bottle, Canadian whiskey with natural flavors. Now you say, well, it's a flavored whiskey, so it's a liqueur. No, it's still under the whiskey category. It's not a flavored whiskey. Get it? It's a whiskey with flavors, with natural flavors, probably rum. And Sazerac makes some extremely sweet candy-like white rums, for instance, Caliber. And if you added 9.9% Caliber to this, it would make it taste sweet and strange. I'm not going to say it's an unpleasant flavor, but if you gave it to somebody and said, what is this? Blind, you know, don't even tell them what it is. They would know it's a hard liquor of some sort, but I don't even know if they would think it's whiskey. It's so exotic in the flavor. Or if you want to use a better term, maybe aberrant in the flavor. I don't mind it, but it's different. That's all I can say. Could it be a wine that's making it taste like that? Canadian whiskeys sometimes add wine. Could be like sherry. Cream sherry be that sweet sherry. I mean, it could be. We'll never know because Sazerac isn't going to tell you. Their blend master, Drew Mayfield, I've seen him do interviews and he signs things and all on their website. If you call them up, they're not going to tell you what the flavors are. They're just going to say, well, we use an interesting combination of the finest ingredients. You know, all liquor companies are going to say that the finest ingredients, carefully selected, and so forth. I mean, they're just not going to disclose what it is. And I'm not saying they should disclose what it is or they have to disclose. They're telling you it's got natural flavors. All right, so let's go. So I can tell them apart. I'm telling you, this is McAdams. MCA. McAdams. Yeah. It's like standard Canadian. It has sweetness. Now, there's a sweet corn taste. I cannot lie. But a lot of American whiskeys would be like that. Even in bourbons, they'll taste like sweet corn. But too much like corn, in my opinion. Too much like corn grits. I knew this man. God rest his soul. He passed away. He used to work at Bingo. I didn't know he was. It's funny. I mean, if you'd have told me, oh, he's going to die, I would have said, oh, you're crazy. He's still working. He worked. He was like 70 something. He was working, transporting automobiles for like car dealerships. Like, oh, we need this driven. One time that he drove to Michigan. He said then a snowstorm came. It was bad, but he's from Detroit, so he said he was used to it. But he was working at Bingo. He was kind of bent over though, looked kind of, I don't know, not exactly the picture of health, but not like soon to die. But it happened, and I had talked to him on the phone a few weeks before he died. He was saying, could you go, wanted me to get him some grocery item or something. And I said, I'll be glad to do it. But anyway, he said, what's the point of all that? Well, that he used to like Canadian whiskey. When he would work at Bingo, if you worked at Bingo, they let you have free drinks, I would drink beer, and only one. I'm trying to keep the Bingo card straight and everything. I don't need to be all swimming in my head. Some of these guys would be drinking so much they couldn't get the change right, But I say, what you want? Oh, give me Sprite. He'd say, give me Sprite and whatever Canadian whiskey they have. He said, I prefer the Canadian blends over bourbon. Okay, so some people prefer Canadian whiskey over bourbon for various reasons. And they definitely do in Louisiana because Crown Royal is clearly the #1 best-selling whiskey in Louisiana. It's not even a contest, And a lot of stores sell out of it. They can't get it sometimes. I think the sales are outpacing their production ability. I don't know why Crown Royal has exploded across the United States. It's not that special. Their Crown Royal sales representative in my local area, I was talking to him. He said, he was all proud. He said, we're the #1 selling whiskey in America. I said, you mean the #1 selling Canadian whiskey? Obviously. He said, no, I mean the #1 whiskey overall. We just passed it this year. He was all excited. And I believe it because it'll sell out. Like these stores will sell out of all of it. And then, then they'll get hundreds of more bottles, like literally. Walmart always gets first pick. So everybody sells out, but Walmart doesn't because Walmart's got everybody over a barrel. They'll tell the distributor, we better not run out because, their volume commands their attention. Walmart will sell more in a day than most of these other stores are selling a week. So they're going to get the first pick. Same thing with groceries. A lot of stores be half empty. Not so bad now, but when the scamdemic was full force, they'd be half empty, but Walmart never was. because they telling the food distributors, we better get our stuff first. We better not go, and I know they send spies, and we better not go and see that they got that jelly and we don't, you know. So that kind of thing. Canada Dry Hand says, have you had the scotches from McClellan's? It's cheap, but pretty darn good. I'm not familiar with that, but that doesn't mean anything because there's a lot of whiskeys I'm not familiar with. No, I haven't tried them, but I would try them. And I know there's some scotch sold in Canada, but we don't get it here. And there's a lot of scotch sold here that they don't get in Canada. And there's a lot of Canadian whiskey sold in Canada that we don't get. Because the Canadians always tell me about Golden Wedding. Golden Wedding. They said, you know, Golden Wedding, everybody knows that. Some people hate it, old men drink it, and so forth. I said, I never heard of it. And they say, oh, yeah, it's common, you know. So it's not common here. Like Seagram's 83. It's kind of like a cheaper version of Seagram's VO. Seagram's 83. And they were like, oh, yeah, you know, Friday night party, people drinking Seagram's 83. I said, I've never seen it. Never. All right, but that's the way it works with distribution. I mean, it's like that state to state. And I know it in Canada, it's the same way. Some provinces get products and some don't. Like beer, you can get something in New Brunswick. Oh, yeah. And go to British Columbia. You never see it. Never heard of it. You know, you never heard of it. And the same thing here. I can cross the border into Texas. Lone Star. Every store got Lone Star. Every store. Every beer outlet will have Lone Star. Now, I don't know if it's a big seller, but they got it. It's obviously a pretty good seller. They wouldn't stock it. But come to Louisiana, you'll never see Lone Star. You'll never see it. See Lone Star Steakhouse, but you never see Lone Star beer. Now explain that. Louisiana and Texas are separated by a line, a man-made line drawn on the ground, and a river, but at the top, it's just a line, you know. But that's the way it works. Mississippi River. They got some stuff sold west of the Mississippi, but not east. That's the demarcation line. Some beer brands. West of the Mississippi, you can find it. Go to the East Bank, can't see it. Never see it. You won't see it. That's the way it was with Coors beer until 1981. Coors beer was only sold west of the Mississippi. You had to go cross the river and look for it. Take a ferry or a bridge. Now, in New Orleans, that was a very strange situation because New Orleans is on the river, meaning the city of New Orleans is on both sides of the river, East Bank and West Bank. There's a bridge connecting the two sides, two bridges next to each other, one going east, one going west. But so you could get beers on one side of the river and then cross to the east and never see it. And you could ask the distributor, I need it over here. I live on in Carrollton neighborhood, the Carrollton area. Oh, no, we can't bring it. You can drive to Algiers. So anyway, Golden Wedding is bad in my opinion. I've never had it, so I can't comment. I think it's kind of legendary or infamous in Canada. You know what I mean? Like people will tell those stories. Oh, it's the worst I ever felt the next day drinking Golden Wedding or all that kind of stuff. These are all right. They're even arguably good. I mean, they're not going to score in the A range for sure, but I mean, they can make it into the B. I mean, if you want to taste a whiskey that tastes like candy, some kind of candy, like, yeah, like a caramel candy of some sort. I don't know what. Then drink James Foxe. Nobody drinks it neat but me. When I do the tastings, I never drink it off air. I literally never. If I'm not on air, I'm not drinking whiskey. I'm serious. The only time I ever taste whiskey is if I'm doing a live video like this or a recorded video, like a new one. I'll get a new product. Like I got that Glengassaugh whiskey and the Jura Journey. Jura Journey. I think there is a Discovery, but it's more expensive. I'll drink it and do a recorded video, like a review, like, oh, it tastes like so and so, whatever. Give it a score, and then I'll do taste challenges. But beyond that, I'm not drinking it. People will say, you lie, you probably drink whiskey all day. Well, I don't. I'm telling. How do you think this bottle would last this long. You know what I mean? I've been using this bottle in taste challenges for literally years. You think it's going to last that long if I'm drinking every day? You know it isn't. And it's not a matter of being stingy with it, trying to, you know, people say nurse the beer or whatever. It's nothing like that. I just don't drink it. I do taste challenges and I do reviews, and I'm satisfied with that. So it's the truth. Believe what you want. Now, I know people will say, well, practically, though, you're sipping it and you're swallowing it, and you do taste challenges every day, or it averages to every day, because some days I don't, and I'll double up because of scheduling or whatever. So on average, it's like 365 days a year I'm tasting whiskey or gin, or not gin. I gave up on that stuff. Rum, a lot of rum, tequila and so forth, brandy, of course. Yeah, that's true. And, you know, oh, well, I'm pouring a whole, like, oh, look, he poured this much, and then he poured this much over here, and he tasted them. Man, wow, that's a lot of consumption, ain't it? Oh, boy, I can't believe it. Hope you make it. So it sounds much worse than it really is, because what it really is minimal. And if I found that it was too much and I didn't like it, I couldn't tolerate it, I wouldn't do it. If I thought it was making me ill, I wouldn't do it. If it was bothering me, I wouldn't do it. But so far, there's no trouble with it. But for every day, just like drinking a beer, it's beer, you know. On a day off of work, I'll drink 4 beers. And I don't cheat. I don't drink a 40 ounce, you know, whatever that is in Canada. 1,000 milliliter bottle or something like that. It was like a liter. A 40 ounce is like a liter bottle. I don't drink one of those and count it as a beer. I don't say, well, I'll drink a 40. That counts as 1. Then I got 3 left. No, that counts as 3. 12 times 3 is 36. So if I drink a 40 ounce, that counts as 3. If I drink a 42 ounce, that counts as 3.5. I don't like those bottles because the portion's not correct. You know what I'm saying? The value is correct. If you get a 42 ounce bottle of beer, which is, like I say, over 1,000 milliliters, it's a good value. You're going to get it cheaper per ounce. But I like to go 12 or 355 milliliters, 12 ounce, 12 ounce, 12 ounce, 12, for a day. On a day off. Now, if I'm at work, I'll drink 2 when I get home. That's it. So that's stretching it out over a 24-hour period. 24 hours, 4 beers in 24 hours. Does that sound excessive? I don't think so. Now, if you listen to the U.S. government, if you drink more than 1 a day, it's excessive. But look at their recommendations for school meals. The children would starve if they ate that. And if you look at a lot of the people that work for the U.S. government, they obviously don't follow the guidelines. They eat a whole lot more than the recommended portioning. And the people that make the alcohol rules, not rules, well, maybe rules one day, right? Soon. But recommendations, they probably drinking a lot more than that. But anyway, I think I'm doing a very balanced approach. I think I am. I'm pretty sure I am. I like to do things in moderation. I try to. Exercise, yeah, don't go crazy. I knew a lady that exercised so much that she's crippled now, basically. No, can't walk. Hips, destroyed both hips. Jogging like a maniac, sort of like an obsessive compulsive anxiety based. Well, obsessive compulsive disorder is an anxiety disorder. It is it's based on anxiety, like worrying. She's probably worrying about her weight. She never was heavy. But people get these mad ideas in their minds and they go crazy. Crazy in a sense, not like literally crazy where they're hearing voices and having visual hallucinations. I don't mean they develop a psychosis, but they may as well be crazy. Look at Karen Carpenter with anorexia nervosa and bulimia. She just as soon have been crazy because she died, 32 years old, starving herself to death. Anxiety disorder. Where did that come from? I don't know. I've got some ideas, but And this country, in Canada probably too, you got a lot to worry about. There's worry, you know, but you try to, in my case, have faith, be Catholic, good Catholic, Christian, and have hope. And if you thought you were just matter and motion, that's what some people, we're just matter and motion. We live on a spinning ball, and there's no meaning to anything. When you're dead, you just turn into dirt. And you can imagine that people would be pretty anxious in that situation, and they would start to abuse alcohol, drugs, have a bad attitude, have a mean streak, and well, be miserable a lot, you know, because then the sand of the hourglass is running out. You say, well, I'm only 28. You're still running out. And you think you're going to live to 98. You might live to 29, and that's it. You don't know. So anyway, enough of the rant and rave with Ronald. Rant and rave with Ronald. But I think I'm making good points. But these, some people are going to say, come on, you're overplaying it. It's just a taste challenge. You know, it doesn't have to be this esoteric exploration of the mental state of the world. I know that. I realize that. But getting back to this, they're fine. They're not as good as you'd like them to be, but how would that be if they're $7.99 a bottle? But they're not as bad as some people claim that they are. That's the point I've always tried to make about these products. They're not as good as you'd want them to be, but they're not nearly as bad as some people claim that they are. It's like Budweiser beer. That's the perfect example. You know, Budweiser beer is like a crucifix to a vampire when it comes to craft beer people, you know. Not all craft beer people. Some craft beer people are level-headed, but a lot of them are fanatics, you know. And you say, well, Budweiser, and it's like, and they go crazy and they go on this hysterical, think I was ranting. And it's like, come on, man. It's not as bad as you're saying. I mean, it's not as good as you'd like, but you're only paying $10.90. You can get Budweiser for $10.99 a 12-pack on sale sometimes. Come on, man. And that's how these are. They're lower grade than like a Budweiser of liquor would be like Crown Royal, you know. These are more like the the Miller High Life of whiskey, or even worse, the Natural Light or Keystone Light of whiskey. But you get the point. They're okay. They're fine. Okay, now let's look at the comments, because we're finished more or less. It's 2 drinks a day. Oh, that's what they recommend? I think they said they were going to lower it, but maybe they didn't. They realized how ridiculous. That's how I think, and I'm fine. Good. Joe Biden's dentist says, through naked winter trees, a bitter wind whispered, war, war. Is that from a famous poem? I don't read poems. Strange to see you on so late in the morning. I'm sure you're getting tired of the McAdams. Well, I'm on late because I had internet problems earlier. It kept cutting out. I came on at the right time, 5:30, but 5:40, but kept cutting out. So I was like, this is crazy. I'm just going to cut it off. I went walk in and then fed the cat, that cat that adopted the porch in the house. And called my father on the phone. We talked about football and everything. And then I said, let me try it and maybe it'll be okay. Now it's okay. So whatever. I think they do work on the internet overnight. Who is they? What could be the internet service provider? It could be the actual whoever's running what they're getting it from doing. They just do it overnight because they figure people are sleeping, which some people stay up all night playing video games. But I've talked to it's not just me. I've talked to a lot of people. They'll say, oh, yeah, it's always cutting out, giving me trouble, man. I was at level 14 on Mockingbird 9, and it crashed, and I couldn't finish. I was like, oh, man, that's too bad. You almost made level 15. That means a lot. Budweiser. Okay, let's look at the last comments, and we out. So I'm going to say tie. It's a tie because it's a personal preference thing. If you want a candy-like weird tasting product, but not a bad tasting product, get James Foxe. It'll work. For that, I'm not getting tired of McAdams. Really, you said I was getting tired. I'm not getting tired of it. If you want more standard tasting Canadian whiskey, like a la Crown Royal type tasting, this will work. It'll work. So personal preference, whatever you want, I'll take either one. And I was able to tell them apart easily without really any effort. Not on aroma, no, but on flavor, yes, easy. All right, so let's see, comments. Budweiser is one of my favorite beers, says Kevin Johnston, sorry. Maybe I'm just cheap. I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of craft beers, but I've had a lot of craft beers, but I still love it. I've had a lot of craft beers too, to say the least. Thousands. Do I love Budweiser too? Yes, I do. But I buy natural ice because it's way cheaper and I like it just as much. So if Budweiser was the same price for a 30-pack as natural ice, would I buy it? No, I'd probably still buy natural ice because I like the it's 5.9% alcohol. You get a little more like action with it. I don't mean in a drunkard sense of the word. It's just got more like character or something. And then it's actually lower calories. So you get best of both possible worlds. Higher alcohol, which gives it more character, and lower calories, which gives it more health benefit, I guess, theoretically at least. AJ Daniels says, hello, Ron! Exclamation mark. I've always appreciated your mindset when it comes to your beverage reviews. I find the craft beer snobs to be on the dramatic side. Oh, very dramatic. A lot of them won't talk to me, you know. I'll make comments on their videos. I'll be like, man, I had that ale. It was great. I gave it a 98 out of 100. I loved it. And they either won't respond or they'll make a comment like, oh, yeah, it was good. But then you read comments that they're given to the other, like you're talking about craft beer snobs, you know, oh, and they'll go on and make a 20-paragraph essay on their reply. But they have a right to be that way, I guess. I just don't like it. You say, well, I know who those people are. I watch their videos. Yes, we all do. Pretentious? I would say so. Does it bother me? No, it doesn't bother me. I watch the videos. They know what they're talking about. That's the thing. They know the products. They're good at evaluating. It's just the attitude is so, like, irritating, you know? It's like, no, you're not that important, you know? I know you got a beautiful backdrop on your video. It's pretty. But the attitude ain't pretty. Okay. People think the opposite of life is death. It isn't. Death is the opposite of birth. Life is eternal. Now you look at a dead body at a funeral, like I did Wednesday, and it's a shell. I say it looked like a shell. I knew the face. I said, but he's not in that body. To be absent from the body is to be in the presence of the Lord. People say, well, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in hell. You'll believe it when you get there. You know what I mean? Okay, and we don't want you to go there. Beer Hounds. Oh, I was watching one of your videos, and I have one of your videos on watch later, actually. And when I answer comments from 8 years ago, Beer Hound, it's not because I ignored your comment for 8 years, because YouTube didn't bother showing me your comment for 8 years. How do you do, Ronaroo? I had hams for the first time recently and loved it. 3.9 stars. I like hams, but you can't get it in Louisiana. They tried selling it here and it went over like nothing. It didn't sell. They couldn't give it away. I love natural ice as well. Ice beers are underrated. I agree with that. Ice beers are the whipping boy of beer. You know, people love to rip on ice beers. Oh, I watched a video recently about an ice beer, a review, a so-called review. I said, this is no review, because they already know what score they're going to give it. It's going to be an F, and they're going to hate it. I don't know what the point of the video was, to get cheap laughs. You know, well, then just drink Pliny the Elder. You know, why are you even bringing that up in reference to natural ice? We know it's not the same. We didn't need to watch your video to tell us that. Common sense. If I pay $19.99 for a 30-pack of natural ice, I know it's not going to be on the same level as like a $9 bottle of Pliny the Elder, you know, or whatever it costs, $25 a 4-pack. I don't know, some outrageous price. Common sense. It better be better. I'm paying, and you know, that's where the real rubber hits the road, when you're paying these exorbitant prices for a lot of craft beer and it's not as good as natural ice. That's where you get aggravated. And I run across that quite a bit. And then it comes back to people say, you got an axe to grind. You're mad at the company. You don't like them. I said, I don't even know the company. I'm just tasting a product. It's not good. It tastes like alcoholic orange Julius, you know. Man, I don't like paying $4.99 for a can of beer that tastes like a spiked orange Julius. I can go to the shopping mall and get orange Julius. And when I was 4, I liked it. But I was 4. Been my boss. All right. I love natural ice. Well, ice beers aren't right. Okay. Am I a beer snob, Ron? Says Beer Hounds Beer Review. You're not too bad of a beer snob. I think Beer Hound has a good handle on it because he kind of looks at things in context. They tend to price gouge. You know, Bill, he can look at things in a context. Some people cannot or refuse to. Maybe they can, they won't. You hope it's just being obstinate. You hope it's not an indicative of an inability to look at things in an abstract manner. Because if you're unable to look at things in an abstract manner, it's an IQ problem. I like these orange Julius too back then. Yeah, I liked them in 1972. Tried Purity Vodka distilled 17 times. 17 times? Well, I bet it is pure. Beer is just a hobby for me, says Kevin Johnston. Not a lifestyle or a profession. Same here. The best term to use is not a religion. With some beer reviewers, it's a religion. It's their religion. It's literally their religion. That's what they were. It's their idol. And I say, this is not good. But then it's not my problem either because I'm not you. But anyway, enough of that. Most of these people that I'm criticizing and all in an oblique manner, they know what they're talking about. I'm not saying they don't. They do. It's just an attitude, you know, it gets on your nerves. Ron is one of the best beer reviewers on YouTube, hands down, says Beer Hound. Thank you. And I only had to pay Beer Hound $10 for him to say that. And that's a bargain. I try to do a good job. Been doing it for 11. Ooh, it's 11 years this month. Hard to believe. 11 years. Seemed like it's 11 days. And that's no lie. It seemed like it was 11 days ago I started doing it. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. All right. So tomorrow morning, if the internet does cooperate, I'm grateful for your content, Jay. Thank you for it all. Oh, you're welcome, Kevin. Y'all join Alcohol Eggs and we'll talk about it online on Facebook. It's pretty laid back on that group. No drama there. I was in some beer groups. It was like constant drama. It was like, what is all of this? That's what I kept saying. What is all of this? McAdams is going up against Caliber, I think, is next from 2004. Well, that'll be no kind of contest. But it'll be the same as this. Like you'll never mix them up. You'll never confuse the two. But it's like you can't decide which one's better because they're both got some kind of quality to them, I guess. I'm on Alcohol Eggs, same name. Oh, right. Yeah, you are, Kevin Johnston. Ron is technical and very accurate. Yeah, if you want to get techno, I'm technical. I don't know how technical I am. I try to be, but I'm not an expert, you know. Try to be, but I don't know enough about it. Okay, anyway, so thanks for watching. James Foxe, you did a good job. You're never going to win any awards, but that's okay. I know you're not trying to, thank goodness. Interesting label. If you look at it, if you stare at it, it looks three-dimensional. It looks like there's a space back there. It's weird. It's like an optical illusion. Did a good job. McAdams, you're doing okay. You're doing okay. You're not exactly setting the world on fire with fabulousness, but you're not getting killed either. You have a place. There's the crown. So royal. Well, nice little product. After we finish Canadian whiskey, we're going to pivot off across the Atlantic Ocean to Ireland. And I got that what's the name of that doggone stuff? Oh, well, you'll like it. You'll love the video. I'm going to love it. You display history and all, and it's cool. I try to do cool stuff, you know. Granite Run Mall, more than just stores. Laughing out loud in Media, Pennsylvania, had the Orange Julius kiosk. Always had one before a steak at Rustler's Steakhouse a few spaces away. Yeah, the old days of the mall. Go eat at Sizzler Steakhouse or Bonanza. Get an Orange Julius. Buy a members only jacket. In 1981, you were living large, boy. Have a blessed day. You too. Ron puts the work in. I do put the work in now. I'm not bragging on that. I researched these products. That's the best part about the reviews, doing the research. You learn so much about the products. It's fun, you know. I think it's fun. I love it. I love it. All right. Sizzler was so good, says Beer Hounds. Indeed. All right. Well, let me go. I got to go to Red Lobster today. I'm not going to Red Lobster. I'm just joking. That's another example. It's not as bad as people claim, and it's not as good as you wish it was, but it's all right. If you're on a road trip, come on, man. Come on, man. Thanks, everybody.